YouTube, welcome into a video. My voice might sound a little bit off because I'm currently in Japan, in Kyoto, and I'm using this little mic here. So just bear that in mind. Bob might do some magic editing work to make it sound a little bit nicer. But today we're going to talk about some SAG-AFTRA stuff, some Genshin VA strike, Honkai Star Rail stuff, like everything. I want to preface this video with just saying, this entire situation has gone from being pretty clearly understood by me to the most confusing situation about the Genshin strike in the past, 2 years. I don't know what the point of the strike is regarding Genshin anymore. I don't think there is a point. I think it's just SAG-AFTRA trying to monopolize the entire industry, and not to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, but I feel like Genshin is in the right here. The situation all started out, we heard Joe out on stream and on video and a lot of other situations, a lot of other information we got at the point. It sounded like the reason the Genshin VAs were striking against Genshin was to get the AI protections written into the contracts. But now, after all of the information that we've got over the past year or so, it turns out Genshin had the AI protections all along in the contracts. Formosa was getting struck, but Genshin itself was never a struck property or never a struck game. And it's also not a union game. However, people then twisted it to say that Genshin was not paying VAs enough. Joe explained that Hoyoverse pays union wages, so they are competitive with union projects. They had the AI protections that they were fighting for. They paid them well. So what was the point of the strike? Then we move on to the entire disrespectful situation with VAs attacking another VA for taking a job, even though this VA that took the job was not union. Genshin is not a union game, but the certain VAs that were attacking that VA were union VAs working a non-union game, which shouldn't be allowed anyway. Do y'all see how insane this is? We have a couple of tweets to look at. If I thought one of these options would lead us down a bad path, I would advise against it. National Executive Director of SAG-AFTRA. We now face a binary choice. Accept a good contract with historic AI protections or watch all AAA games go overseas or non-union. Yeah, so I saw this. This is an agreement that has been put forward to SAG, right? And this is the closest the VAs have got in such a long time to an actual good deal. All of SAG-AFTRA membership got to vote on the interactive strike. This is Capitano's VA, by the way, so based, and bring him back, please. All of SAG-AFTRA members got to vote on the interactive strike authorization, and now, even after receiving the last, best, and final offer, SAG is saying they are still negotiating. No, you aren't. It's done. The deal is good. Now let us vote to end this strike. This is so funny. The US is losing VA jobs not even to AI now, it's to London. Saddle up, team. So I love making games, and I fear my freedom to do that is being taken away. I felt vilified by people who are meant to protect me, because somehow being a working actor has been the enemy. That sucks. I'm told that I should accept a contract that tells us we can't work on the games every actor dreams of working on, because some small fringe contract language that SAG could direct us. By the way, yeah, this is another thing. Obviously, in the SAG stuff, it does state that union actors can't work on non-union games, but a lot of the time it's just forgotten about. I've heard rumors, and I don't know if this is true, that because some voice actors like Erica, Venti's VA, are going back to work Hoyo contract stuff, they're actually enforcing Global Rule 1 now, which is that they can't work the non-union games. I don't know if that's true, but if so, that shows just how much of a pussy SAG is. And they're threatening those VAs. I did see that they're also threatening the VAs. Can I ask, what is the ungrounded fear of AI in the deal that you feel is holding things up and not actually an issue? Sure, it's not that AI isn't terrifying, totally is. I agree with that. But there are a few elements in the last offer that the negotiating team feel are not strong enough. Again, totally get it. Mainly of how it could be interpreted or exploited down the road. It's not being represented fairly to people in terms of risk and application about how replicas of an actors might be exploited. As I understand it, the union could still control it from their side, if not the agreement side. The risks don't outweigh the costs, not even close. 95% good deal that allows us to have a workable future and a fighting chance in the crazy world to come is better than saying no and losing almost all the jobs that it can provide. I truly think it's a much better world to live in where voice actors just work with AI, not forced to work with AI, but happily work with AI, and they get to get paid more and better for it. They get written into contracts so they know exactly what the AI is going to be used for. Hopefully it makes their life a lot easier and makes the product a lot better eventually. I think AI is still going to be absolute dog shit for the foreseeable future. There will be one day where it's fucking amazing, but I hope by that point it gets regulated to a point where people are using it more as an aid than a replacement tool. I wanted to watch Hero Hei's video because I did also see, and this could be pretty damn huge, that Hoyo did indeed fire or at least replace, I think, two major VAs. They're not in the game credits anymore. from Star Rail, right? I think it was the two MCs. This is by far the biggest recast yet. It's not clear if they were fired or that their contracts expired, just so we're clear, for sure. But either way, the grand consensus is still, no matter what the situation is that happened, they've been replaced. Which typically just doesn't happen unless there's some extraneous circumstances, right?
I returned today to some crazy news. We've got an update in the voice actor stuff over here on the subreddit for Honkai Star Rail, that being a Hoyoverse game for those that don't know.
Yep.
We've got the title. Kalis and Stell have been officially recasted as of version 3.3. Now, as you guys know, I do...
So this is the version that's like out now, right? I haven't played it, obviously. I'm in Japan and I haven't even had time to do Casterus' stuff yet. So this is like all official information. They have been replaced. Their voices are back and it's not their voice actors. Okay.
Play Genshin, but I don't actually play Honkai, so I'd like to get some additional context here at gosugamers.net. We'll just spend like 30 seconds reading the key areas here at the top, where they say, Honkai Star Rail version 3.3, The Fall of Dawn's Rise, dropped on Wednesday, May 21st, with 2 new 5-star characters in Hyacine and Cypher, Hyacine, and Cypher, as well as tons of other additions. However, the update also featured a surprising change as the voice actors for the game's main character, the Trailblazer, have been replaced. In Honkai Star Rail, players embark on an interstellar journey as the male or female version of the Trailblazer, commonly known by their...
You didn't know they got replaced? A lot of people didn't.
...their canon names, Salis and Stell. Kalis, excuse me.
Yeah.
Since the game's launch in April 2023, the Trailblazer has been voiced by Caleb Yen, Kalis, and Rachel Chow, Stell. So...
And by the way, can I just say before this goes any further, the only stuff that I saw Caleb Yen and Rachel Chow doing was good. I don't think they did anything bad. I don't know why they struck or if they were like forced into it or anything. I don't know the situation. But they were in so many fun like community projects and stuff, and they seemed really cool. So I'm curious if anything does come out or if anything did happen. I just don't know.
Oh, this is basically like the Honkai version of the Traveler in Genshin. Let's take a look and see if the voice actors who got recast have issued any statement on this yet. Hopping over to Twitter first for Rachel Chow.
Have they?
We can see the bio does still say ENVA for Stell. And scrolling down, there is nothing as of May 5th. That's the latest post. But her pinned tweet does say, making the jump. Follow me on Blue Sky at the same handle. Chow for now. I'll keep Yield Twitter up so you can find me. And to protect
so
this
probably some Blue Sky
handle.
stuff.
All right, hopping over to Blue Sky. We can see Rachel Chow is also here. But interestingly enough, on Blue Sky, her username is a little bit different, including she, they in the username. Interesting because on
still says ENVA of Stell.
On Twitter, she put she, they in the bio, but over here it's in the title. I don't know. Is that a Blue Sky thing or something? I have no idea. But the bio does still say ENVA of Stell in Honkai Star Rail. And similarly to Twitter on this part, no activity lately and no statement issued about the recasting. As for Caleb Yen, he does also still say Trailblazer in his bio.
Caleb's cool, man. He does a lot of voice acting too. He is Garming in Genshin as well, and also Karaku in Demon Slayer. He plays quite a few, in my opinion at least, pretty like big characters in.
But I don't believe he's on Blue Sky. So all we'll take a look at is this Twitter account. And there's even less activity here. Pin tweet from 2021.
Yeah, there's like nothing.
And the last post actually from back on December 5th, 2024. Let's actually return to the Blue Sky account for Rachel Chow though. I found something that gives some more context. So 2 months ago, we got this Blue Sky post from Shar that says, to Rachel, so glad you could find happiness and have a great day. Yep. I miss you a whole lot in Honkai Star Rail, and I send weekly feedback requesting them to sign the interim agreement for AI protections so you and the other wonderful actors can get back to voicing our beloved.
To be fair, this was 2 months ago. We didn't really know at that point that the interim agreement is kind of pointless because it's not part of the fucking strike and it's a non-union. It's just, bro, this whole situation now just makes me fucking angry. Oh my god.
Characters.
It deadass just makes me pissed off because I was this person. Not quite, but I was this person. I deadass thought they were striking against Genshin. Genshin was never part of it, or like Hoyoverse. They were never part of it. It was a scapegoat.
Now, hopefully, as you know, and something we've talked about extensively on this channel for a few months now, obviously the interim agreement is about a lot more than just air protections. That's like the whole Trojan horse thing, the whole like...
Okay, maybe it was Trojan horse, guys. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought maybe it was Trojan horse.
Manipulative part that a lot of people have been criticizing the VAs, SAG, the agreement for, to put it simply, of course. But I suppose I'll add on to this really quickly for anyone who may be out of the loop on this still. And essentially, one of the biggest issues is that the agreement and these VAs and SAG are trying to flip these games, Hoyoverse games and other games, to be union-only games, which would come with a lot of negative repercussions for VAs who are not a part of the union, such as forcing voice actors who don't want to join the union into joining the union and having to...
Which is also, by the way, and I didn't mention this earlier, but bro, SAG-AFTRA is so fucking rich, it's insane. The fact that they charge so much money just to join the freaking union, and they're trying to strong arm every voice actor into joining the union. They are literally just trying to monopolize the gaming industry in terms of voice actors. That would be like the world's biggest fucking cult. It's insane.
Or risk being terminated from their positions, from their roles. Nevertheless, Rachel Chow responds and says, "Aw, thank you so much. That is really so kind and helpful of you. Hoping for good news soon too."
Yeah, it would be nice.
I guess that didn't age so well, did it? Here's something really funny. So back on the subreddit Honkai Star Rail and the post that
I feel so bad for them, dude.
we read earlier about this recasting news, you can see a top comment here says, "So it's like Kenichi and Genshin, only new lines for now. Older will be replaced in the future."
Yeah.
So it'll be a mix of both VAs for now. There is also lots of NPC VA changes, not even for EN, but looks like for JP also. The response saying, "We live in hope that this means we could still get a recast for Paimon. I will play the heck out of Genshin if they recast Paimon. Give her free runs English VA and I'm sold." So you can...
Bro, just let me do it. Dead ass, just let me do it. I said this earlier, I don't know if it was recording or like if it's going to be in the video, so I'll say it again, but Escofia's VA has like an American accent for Escoffier, and the British just seeps through every now and then, and it's the funniest fucking thing. Just let me voice Paimon, and like every time we go to a new nation, like the colonizer accent can slip through, and nobody will fucking notice shit. It'll be so funny, I swear. Like, oh god.
You can see that the people...
I think I'd do a killer Paimon voice.
Dreams for a Paimon recast is still holding strong, still very much alive. Maybe more alive than ever now. An interesting point at the top about the Kenichi situation and these VAs getting replaced.
Give us a sample. Alright, bruv, go to Shizna. Fish and chips in that fontaine. Like, I don't know, there's a couple of different accents that you could do really. Scottish Paimon. Scottish. Ether. Fish and chips in a can of Coke. You could do a lot. You could do a lot. I think it'd be good.
Placed. I do wonder if when we see the announcement of who the new VAs are for the Trailblazers and Honkai, if we'll see, just like we saw happen to Jacob Takanashi, the new VA for Kenichi, that a certain clique of very toxic English voice actors and SAG-AFTRA bootlickers and their supporters will try and harass the new VAs too, just like they did to Jacob Takanashi.
Quite possibly.
Of course, they all know very well how much backlash they got for that situation though, so perhaps this time they won't actually do it, even if they really want to. Maybe now they'll be scared of all the backlash that they will get from the communities and the internet at large. It's really crazy how big of bullies these people are. We literally saw some VAs on Blue Sky saying that people like Jacob Takanashi deserve to be harassed even more, and saying stuff like, "Oh, back in the good old days of unions, people used to get physically assaulted for being scabs." And
I did see this, and it was like, it's not funny, but it is, like, the situation's funny because holy shit, dude, bro, I thought Blue Sky was going to be better than Twitter, but now it's flooded with this shit. It's fucking insane. It's the people were like, "Oh yeah, back in the good old days when unions were there for coal mine workers, like they had it better than the VAs. These coal mine workers had it better." But do you fucking hear yourself? Are you fucking high?
Trying to make it sound like, "Oh, Jacob Takanashi got off easy, and all the fans mad at us really shouldn't be mad at all." By the way, let me also clarify something. This comment we read a moment ago that I said is a top comment is in fact the top comment in the thread, both sorted by top and also sorted by best. Come on, Reddit, what are you doing? There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Speaking of people upset on Blue Sky about this news and getting mad at the fans of these games, there is some stuff we'll take a look at in a moment where, yeah, there's more people mad over on Blue Sky. But first, let's hop over to the Genshin Impact subreddit. We took a look at Honkai Star Rail. Now we'll read some over on our Genshin. This post reading, the VAs for Honkai Star Rail main characters have been replaced, which we share the VA of Gaming with. So I guess he'll be replaced soon. Hey, quick side note about that. Do you guys remember when Gaming was released and people in the community were making memes about like gaming, like, wow, they really released a character in the game
they made the Gaming chair.
Was gaming. And then you had a bunch of Twitter cops who are probably now in Blue Sky saying that it's very offensive to make fun of his name. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing that. It's
So actually, did people actually get offended about saying Garming's name was spelt like gaming and making it a bit of like a chair and shit? People actually got offended of that? Interesting.
It's like racist. It's a Chinese name. And it was like some of the most brain rot stuff ever. To take it even further.
And I still laugh at English names, dude. Who the fuck thought that Dick should be short for Richard? We had this conversation yesterday with drinks. Fucking dumbasses, dude.
Further back, it was like when people were mad about the John Lee memes. Oh, you can't call John Lee. That is so problematic, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, true, actually it is.
Now, look, really quick, as much like fun as I'll make at Blue Sky, which is completely justified, by the way, completely justified. I will say, as mentioned, that I have seen some like actually like cool artists on Blue Sky. So I always feel bad for the people that are on Blue Sky that just went there to like share art and stuff and are like not weird.
What the fuck is a Writhsley? Hey, listen, come on now. Us British have it hard enough, okay? Let's not take a step back.
But my gosh, man, that whole website has some serious brain rot issues. It like Twitter is still bad.
Yes,
but
it
I'll
is.
say that it got a little bit better, maybe even more than a little bit better, because a lot of those sort of Twitter got people did go over to Blue Sky. That's a fact. And so, like, while
I think what happened with Blue Sky is the majority of Blue Sky users are gamers. That's the thing. Twitter now is full of cancer from all different regions of the internet, right? And it's full of so much goodness too. But Blue Sky is just full of degen gamers. And that's typically the people that will turn the fastest when it comes to shit like this.
how the levels have balanced out a bit more on Twitter, it's like Blue Sky is completely out of balance.
Yeah.
There's just so much brain rot there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But going back to this Genshin post about
I
the
think that's
VAs
why.
recasting stuff, most of the responses at the top are responding to the question about like Gaming potentially getting replaced. But here's one that talks about VA stuff in general, saying, what are the odds for Zack and Sarah, Aether and Lumine's VAs, these being the travelers, the main characters in Genshin, to also be replaced? I would also understand if they do that, but not gonna lie, I like them so much. I'd be sad if / when that happens. Now, I don't know.
Oh, let me think about this as well. HSR, the MCs getting recast is a pretty fucking big deal. And I'll keep it really honest here. I've noticed HSR MCs not talking so much. Bro, in Genshin, the MCs barely fucking talk anyway. So I'll be honest, dude, the only time I've ever noticed them not talking is when chat have said, by the way, this was voiced in Japanese. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, fucking hell. In a perfect scenario, I actually want Zack and Sarah to keep voicing the characters because they're fucking phenomenal at it. I just want them to have more lines. I want them to talk more. I don't understand why we still give the main characters of the game like 3 lines per patch on a lucky week. I don't get it.
Know anything about Sarah, but I will say about Zack, I actually met him years ago, completely through chance at Anime Expo.
I bet
was
he's
walking
cool.
around the exhibit hall and he came up to me. We start talking. He mentions he's a voice actor for Genos on One Punch Man, because at the time I think that was his only like notable role. This was way before Genshin. This was before Tanjiro and all that. And yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool, hardworking, chill dude.
Nice.
And I'm assuming all these years later he still is. I haven't really kept up with him, but
He did seem very, very chill. And I think Sarah seems more unhinged, but still just super sweet and super nice. I don't know. I saw a lot of the Among Us streams and stuff and they just seem chill, but you never truly know somebody online. That is fair.
I can
So,
only say
don't
good
know.
things from my experience with him years ago, so I'm assuming, as mentioned, he's still like that.
Yeah.
Point being, he seems like one of the good VAs out there, and I do hope this all works out for him. Taking a little more of a look through this thread before we move on to the Blue Sky anger. This next comment reading, I just hope they won't recast Zack. Him, Zhongli, and Ito VAs are the only ones.
Bro, they can't recast Ito, I'm telling you. That would go down as, listen, even if Ito's VA was a piece of shit and in the wrong with this strike stuff, if he was part of it or something, they can't replace Ito. If they replace Ito's VA, Ito dies. I'm sorry, dead, canonically. There's no coming back from that.
I hope don't get recast. And then this one reading,
No coming
apparently
back.
we have reached the found out portion of FAFO. It's sad too. I do enjoy the current swatch of ENVAs. I really do. But at this point, the game has been revealed. The jig is up. Everyone knows the truth about the strike and its real goal. And I'm
But this is the problem. I have consumed so much information and so much content about this strike. I don't know the fucking reason for the strike, man. I don't. To this day, I couldn't tell you. I cannot tell you the actual reason that people are still striking against Genshin or voluntarily not working, whatever the fuck it's called. It's not a strike. I don't know the reason. I need a VA to actually come out and tell me the reason why they're just refusing to work on Genshin specifically, or like Hoyo games specifically. The buzzword is healthcare. I think that's from one VA who I don't listen to a fucking word of because apparently YouTubers lie to you. Hope that helps.
Frankly,
that's not the reason, but sorry. Yeah, I don't listen to Corona stuff, dude. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think it's absolute bullshit, and I think when someone's got a stick so far up their ass at that point, it's really hard to hear what's coming out of their mouth.
Tired of having my game enjoyment held hostage by people who should have, quite frankly, known better. And another comment wanting Paimon to get recast, reading, I hope they can now also recast the white flying turd we have flying right next to us. That takes us over to this exchange back on Twitter, where a Genshin YouTuber said, I really wish there was
I did see Bwap's tweet as well.
Was a better outcome for the English VA situation. But as soon as Hoyo started replacing people, it was evident that they were fighting a losing battle. Response reading, what's crazy about it is that Genshin and other Hoyoverse games aren't even affected by the strike in the first place. The English VAs chose not to record because they wanted higher payments or something like that, with someone else saying it's much more complicated than that.
I'm glad they think so, because who the fuck told them? I don't know if it's more complicated than that, because we just don't know the reason. The reason is probably not just for higher payment, sure, but I'd like to know the reason why they're doing a collective work refusal specifically against games that are non-union, that pay union wages, that have AI protections.
And then a different user responding saying, no, it's not. SAG actors do what SAG does and strike because of AI, quote unquote, when in reality they want absolute control over MiHoYo projects. They hide behind a facade of AI protections, Hoyo already respects AI protections, and rally everyone, including non-union VAs. When their lies were uncovered, the higher-ups at SAG conveniently...
I'm really curious if there is any news about SAG apparently enforcing Global Rule 1 now and making it so that the SAG VAs can't work the non-union games such as Genshin. I'm curious if that's just a rumor or if that's true, because I'm telling you, dude, if that is true, SAG are the biggest bunch of pussies for that. It's insane.
Started enforcing their Global Rule 1. Union actors...
So I didn't even read that. I deadass didn't even read this part. Hold on.
...were uncovered, the higher-ups at SAG conveniently started enforcing their Global Rule 1. Union actors cannot work on union projects. You mean on non-union projects, I think, but continuing. Holding the VAs that do want to go back to work hostage, it's not that complicated.
Such as
the SAG VAs just
VA.
tell you it's complicated to have you feel pity for SAG, when in fact, they are the problem. Another response to the initial tweet reading, who was fighting a losing battle? This is SAG's attempt to strong-arm a foreign company into complying with the scummiest contract I've ever seen. Hoyoverse has been incredibly patient with the strike. If anyone is fighting a losing battle...
Chat, does this mic sound better if I just hold it like this instead of clipping it onto my shirt, or does it just sound the exact same?
It's SAG. Hoyo isn't going to budge. That seemed to have upset someone else as they say, let's defend the billion-dollar company together, guys, let's go. To which that other user responds, saying if you actually read into it, in this situation, Hoyoverse is in the right. This is something that we've discussed a number of times in the past too, how SAG Aftra and a number of the union VAs have come off so unlikable that people are actually defending the corporation. In this example,
This is what I was saying earlier, dude. Like, not to defend the multi-billion-dollar company, but they're kind of right this time. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Thing that is very rare, but that SAG Aftra and those VAs managed to accomplish through how unlikable they are. Congratulations. We'll take a look at a few more examples here. This one saying it was revealed by Rio's VA that it was just the VA's own volition to strike in hopes of getting Hoyo to sign that for better treatment. The better treatment being the agreement that's really, bad agreement for Hoyoverse and bad for
it's bad for everybody involved other than SAG. It was a group
effort done by them, the union VAs, rather than being orchestrated by SAG Aftra, since Hoyo games weren't supposed to be involved.
Risley VA also made a video about the strike and he explains a lot on what started it. We watched it and to be honest, I left with more questions than answers because I felt like a lot of really important issues were brushed over. I really respect Risley's VA and I think he kept it as impartial as possible, but there's obviously a bias there, and I think a bias is fine as long as you're putting out the factual evidence and factual answers, but a lot of the time the important factual answers were brushed over or diminished to a point where it was made to not sound important. Like, there's this Taft-Hartley agreement, but I wouldn't recommend looking into it too much, or something like that. And I'm just like, maybe you should look into that, because it's really fucking important, you know? Like, it just rubbed me the wrong way, to be honest, so...
Joe Zija referring to this action as a collective work refusal. The current video game strike, the official one by SAG Aftra, is against a number of major Western gaming companies. According to my recollection, companies such as Electronic Arts, Warner Brothers, etc., etc.
He kept saying it depends. So here's the thing. I feel like criticizing people for there's certain things you should be criticizing people for. Criticizing Joe for saying it depends to a lot of the questions that were asked is not something to criticize him for, because it's true. A lot of those questions are not black and white, easy yes or no answers. It does depend on a lot of things. It can depend on where the VA is from, it can depend on what they're doing, it can depend if they're union, if they're FICO, if they're working on this project, that project, doesn't matter. Like, there is a lot of it depends. That's just the case. If it was simple yes or no answers, this whole situation wouldn't be a thing to begin with.
Now, it does seem like SAG-AFTRA is involved on some level, aside from just having their members involved, with the collective work refusal against Hoyoverse games, as we have seen them trying to act as a mediator, a middleman of sorts, with getting the work refusals demands sent over to Hoyoverse and asking Hoyoverse to sign said demands.
Yep.
Some people speculate that they have more involvement, some less, but factually, from what we have seen, they are at the very least trying to get this whole contract forwarded and signed by Hoya.
The fact that they tweeted out, they added, what was it? They added Genshin, Hoyo, Star Rail, and ZZZ or something, and were like, we can show you how to sign. It's easy as this or something. Bro, cringe as fuck.
Whatever the case may or may not be, it is still important to remember that SAG is a union built by its members. So by default,
someone said, I'm really confused with the current situation. Actors like Joe and Ray are apparently on strike, but Rio and Nuvi were voiced. I thought Joe said that he wasn't part of SAG. And also, I don't know if he was doing the collective work refusal. I really don't understand the whole fucking scope of the situation. Like I say, things are still confusing the fuck out of me. I would assume that after all the Josie Ager stuff that he would be on strike. He's FICO. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't fucking know, dude. And I don't know about Ray. But I will say this, I'm really happy they're fucking voiced, dude. I really am. Because they should be. They should be.
Talking about SAG-AFTRA, you are still also talking about its members. Some people try to draw a very clear distinction between the union and the VAs, but the union is made up of the VAs. Now, if we go into further detail, of course, there's a hierarchy, so to speak, with some members not having much involvement. Maybe they just vote here and there. Others are bringing in a significant amount of money and get things like healthcare benefits, but around 85% of members, according to my recollection, don't qualify for the minimum income to get benefits. So there's varying degrees here, of course. And then there's people who are voted in to have these executive positions at the union and whatnot. Regardless, though, it is ultimately made up of the members. And some of those are actors, some voice actors.
Yo, do y'all think voice actors can strike against SAG-AFTRA? Probably not. Be kind of funny, though. They could try.
You get the point. What's interesting is when you see lots of people trying to put all the blame on SAG-AFTRA itself and act like the VAs are all innocent when, as we just discussed, the union is built up of its members. And furthermore, as you can see here and elsewhere on the internet, such as Reddit, etc., some people try and cite Erica, the VA for Venti, as proof that SAG is forcing VAs to do certain things and that they don't have free will of their own. For example, this comment that reads, VAs that are part of the union could get blacklisted by SAG-AFTRA if they continue to work. Venti's VA confirmed they are being sent threatening emails by the union. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, VAs are not the main people to blame. Well, in some cases they are. In some cases, VAs have outspokenly bootlicked for the union and harassed people like Jacob Takanashi. In such cases, absolutely the VAs are also to blame because they're enabling the predator.
I think what happened is a lot of VAs really showed their true colors when Kinich got recast. And then coincidentally, as soon as that happened, all of the actual information about Genshin not even being part of the strike, also not being a union game, paying fair wages, even better than most non-union games, and comparable to some good union projects, and having AI protections, all of that coming out at the same time was actually fucking great, to be honest, because it really just showed their true colors and just how idiotic some of the people really were being.
Predatory behavior going on at SAG-AFTRA and harassing people who would stand up to SAG-AFTRA. And this is something that has also happened to Venti's VA. So I find it kind of messed up actually that this person is mentioning Erica here, the VA for Venti.
Yeah.
But only mentioning the threatening letters part because it helps their argument as they try to paint all the VAs out as innocent, when Venti's VA Erica actually got harassed by other VAs on Blue Sky when she began to expose SAG. And those VAs were even saying things like Erica deserves to get those letters, and they were trying to downplay them, being like, oh, the letters aren't threatening.
Pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong here, one of those VAs was a certain flying companion. I could be incorrect about that, but I'm 90% sure that that is the case.
This is just what happens. Erica deserves this. So give Erica the credit that she deserves for going up against the corrupt VAs and their corrupt union, and stop enabling the predatory behavior.
Yeah,
all right, now let's
agree.
get some blue sky anger. We've got this post that says, I've been hearing murmurings that—
I do want to say as well, I think this is really important because Ken actually made me aware of this, guys. I do want to say, no matter how much you fucking despise somebody, Paimon's VA, don't stoop so low as to like purposefully misgender. They go by they, them. I fuck up sometimes and say she. I do. It is genuinely just me fucking up. But apparently a lot of people were just purposefully misgendering them. Honestly, that just makes you look bad. It also does more damage to other people that might be represented by different pronouns and stuff. Because it just obviously will make them feel like shit. I'm not trying to make everybody feel like shit here. Just a piece of shit. You don't need to misgender a piece of shit to show that they're a piece of shit, you know? They're already a piece of shit. Hope this helps.
voices for Stell and Kalis and Honkai Star Rail have been recast. Regardless of whether that's true, I just need to reiterate my disappointment in the fandom response. That so many people are so ghoulish as to not care about the livelihoods of the VAs that literally give voice to the main characters of their favorite game, because how dare they have to play a game for a few months missing some voice acting?
Okay, but here's the thing, right? Hey, VA is a piece of shit. They're not voicing the character. Boop. Oh, look at this guy. Not a piece of shit. Also can voice the character. Boop. We just fixed an age-long problem. Look at that.
I mean, that's part of it, but you're also ignoring how people just didn't like being manipulated by VAs that were lying to them about their demands and what they were trying to do to Hoyo and non-uni VAs. It's funny how this is so often left out by people who are trying to always defend the strike.
If you went to McDonald's, right, and let's say this, you go to McDonald's and you ask for a McFlurry, and they say, oh, I'm really sorry, the ice cream machine's broken. Let's say, fuck it, for this example, let's do something wild. Let's say let's say AI hasn't taken over yet. There is no ice cream machine. There's a guy there just making ice cream, and they're like, oh, the guy that's making ice cream is actually sick today. He's not well. So you'd be like, most of the people would be like, oh, you know what? That's very fair. I wouldn't want to be making ice cream while I'm sick. Yeah, I'll get it next time. You know, I'll wait, and then you'd be happy to wait. But let's say you go to McDonald's the next month, and they're like, oh yeah, the guy said he just doesn't want to come into work anymore, so no. Like, what? Yeah, no, so he's not coming to work anymore. So no ice cream. Well, for how long? Oh, I don't know. What? Are you gonna fire him and like employ somebody new who wants to show up to work? No. Of course they're gonna hire a fucking new person after so long if they're not actually part of the strike. Does that make fucking sense? Anyway, the ice cream machines are a thing now and they always fucking break, so kind of like AI.
And SAG. They are
Which is still dog shit. I can't wait until we live harmoniously with AI and humans and people get paid fairly and AI doesn't turn things into fucking monstrosities, but we're a very long way away from that.
Endless petulant black holes of content consumption, and I can't stay. It won't make a difference, but I won't be giving Hoyo any more of my time. It's time to drop Honkai Star Rail and all of Mihoyo's other games.
Thank God.
You can see they open with their rage post here with a really gross analogy, and then go on to say, quote, the voice actor union is actually bad on, quote, if you don't get bent. So are they just defending SAG there? Is that what they're trying to like get at, I guess?
I don't know what they're doing, but the fact that they have a Pokemon PFP really upsets me because fucking get rid of it. Don't be this much of a weird dick while fucking having Pikachu up there, man. Pope Leon S. Kennedy, what the fuck is that? Fucking 14th? I also love red bean paste. Come on, man.
Quote, they aren't grateful, unquote. Dude, it's a job, you know, the thing neither of us have. And then they get really mad at this post in particular.
Wait, what?
Dude, it's a job, you know, the thing neither of us have. And then they get really mad at this post in particular. Looks like it's from Reddit, where this person says, Hoyo has shown more patience than nearly other companies who would fire anyone not working.
I do want to say this. I feel like Hoyo played this really well. I'll keep it a buck. I do. Not to but let's keep it totally real here. Hoyo were really fucking patient. It's been months. The player base have been sick to their back fucking teeth for so long of not having characters voiced. But you know what the thing was? The player base was on the voice actor's side. Hoyo waited it out. Hoyo basically waited it out long enough for the voice actors to show their true colors and for SAG-AFTRA to show their true colors, so that people are now like, oh my god, these are the real fucking dickheads. Hoyoverse is the saint, the holy goat. But like, not to defend the billion-dollar company, you know what I mean? Like,
working, especially when there is no official union strike against any Hoyo games. It's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I'm not surprised by the decision after all being unvoiced for so long. Response reading, especially since Honkai Star Rail is a game with 8 hours story patch every patch. It genuinely hurts their whole game because it ruins some people's immersion on the story. They simply can't wait any longer.
I think a huge reason why people didn't like Natlan as much as other nations was actually because of this voice actor strike. I truly, truly do. I don't think it was the biggest reason, but I think it was a large reason.
Longer, since we're closing on the ending of the first half of Amorphous. Actually, that's Amphorius, I think, my bad.
Yeah.
They closed their rant by saying, I don't write about games much anymore, except
yeah, you should just stop writing about games entirely, to be honest.
for my own blogs. So I feel okay making fun of these people.
So cringe.
Well, I mean, all we really got out of this is that you're defending a corrupt union, so congratulations, I guess. But look at this. Elsewhere on Blue Sky, there were some people actually defending Hoyoverse. For example, this person says, at this point, voice act.
I'm not even defending at this point. I just think credit where credit's due, dude. They played it really fucking well. They played the long game.
Getting recast like that in Hoyo games don't feel so surprising.
No.
It just feels so hurtful that they can just throw people away like that. All they want is protection. Is it that hard? Sigh. Well, once again, we know they want a lot more than that.
Yep.
But this response says, what could have happened when you refused to work for no valid and official reason? In this exchange, we can see someone says, as much as I didn't want it to happen, they withheld work.
Yep.
It was bound to happen. It's been ridiculous to not have the main character voiced since 2.6, 4 patches. I'm not celebrating them losing the roles, but I am happy to finally have the character voiced again.
Which, by the way, is probably why Corinna is so terrified of like doing the collective work refusal, right? Because here's the thing. If there is any character that it is really going to hit them where it hurts in terms of the... Okay. Let me be very, very clear here. The biggest impact on the game, whether you like her or not, is going to be if Paimon is unvoiced. I'm sure, I am sure now 97, I don't know, a very large amount of people would be so fucking happy if Paimon just didn't have a voice at this point. But 6 months ago, if Paimon was completely mute before the VA outed themselves as a piece of shit sometimes, bro, people would have been so upset, and it would have really, really made the biggest difference. Because what's fucking Garming gonna do when he's in a Lantern Rite once a year or something, right? What's Shenhe gonna do when she don't get a rerun for a year and a fucking half? You know, what are these characters that show up once a year gonna have an effect on, compared to a character that is voiced every single patch? It's crazy, dude. And I get it. Doing the collective work refusal would put them in jeopardy. It would. But it's putting everybody else in jeopardy. They're getting fucking replaced. That's why it's a collective work refusal. You can't antagonize people for working when you're also working, not taking part in the collective work refusal. It is mind-boggling to me that that is even a fucking thing.
No hate their way or the new VAs. Ignoring the fact that most video games went on voice/minimal VAing back in the day just so you can rip on people's livelihoods is real rich. Bro, this person was so respectful about it, and this guy is still getting enraged, like seething over it.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, it gets worse. Look at this. I hope you lose your job to AI one day, and I hope AI prevents you from finding another one. Holy smokes, dude.
Damn.
The SAG-AFTRA bootlickers are crazy. They're always so like mad and weird sounding, man. What are you on about? I know you aren't talking about the strike against MiHoYo. And back in the day, my guy, the strike hasn't even passed a year. I know critical thinking is hard for kids these days, but we can't hold
Oh, dude, this person's 100% British. They're calling them a prick. Oh, this is a bad luck, dude.
your hand through it anymore. Not that I expect much from a selfish redacted. Bro, are you stupid? You didn't even make a point to begin with. Go ahead and reread what I wrote and come up with something that actually is relevant to what I said, instead of digging up insults, you dunce. One last thing we'll take a look at here. Do you remember?
That was just a brain-dead exchange.
Months back near the beginning of this whole situation, when a number of VAs went to Reddit to try and defend SAG-AFTRA and the strike by continuing to spread a false narrative to which people on Reddit called them out, some simply asking questions, and these VAs responded by either dodging and not answering and or blocking people or giving like manipulative lies as a response, to which they got mass downvoted. Well, we'll take a look at this comment from 2 months ago really quick and you'll see why in a second. It reads, they can't see it on Blue Sky. I asked a few of them to clarify and they called me names. Said I was anti-worker and pro-billion-dollar company.
Hey, at this point, I'm going to happily come out and say, right now, I am pro-billion-dollar company. I am pro-Hoyoverse in this entire fucking situation, dude. I think they played the perfect game and I think everybody else showed their true colors. And as crazy as it is to say, dude, billion-dollar company gets a one-up.
And blocked me. Kit Harrison, Shara Kirby both did, since I was replying to a thread where they were both in.
Yeah, Shara Kirby, correct me if I'm wrong here, because the names of VAs do escape me a lot of the time. Is that Candice VA or nah? Candice VA. Yeah, they also said some wild shit on Twitter, and then I think deactivated or deleted everything. Fucking insane. Ridiculous.
Blue Sky is great as a safe space for the vileness of Twitter, but I think a lot of people treat it more like a blog than social media. The reason we're taking a look at this again is because I was thinking of a number of the VAs who were on Reddit trying to defend the strike and all that stuff, and I did recall Kit Harrison. So I went over to Blue Sky to Kit Harrison's account to see if he had anything to say about the recent recasts.
Wait, who is Kit Harrison in Genshin? Random NPC? Okay, NPC.
And there actually wasn't anything that I saw. Doesn't seem like he's talking about it. But there is one thing that I thought was rather interesting and gives some insight onto the VA work.
Okay.
That being this post where he talks about money. The context is, he says, 2 days ago, was driving home yesterday and a pheasant flew headlong into my wing mirror from the side. Heck of a shock.
Damn.
You shouldn't dwell on these things, but if I was driving at any different speed, it would have been way, way worse.
True.
Watch out for low-flying birds, kids. First of all, bro, sucks what happened to your car.
Yeah, that does suck.
That takes us to the quote that he made of that post where he adds on to it saying, "Arg, 75 euros for a new wing mirror."
Okay, Hero Hei, I know you're American, but that's pounds, brother. That is Great British pounds, the one and only currency. Strong currency, great currency. That is the British pound symbol, my friend.
And 450 euros for a new
pounds
door window. Anyone needs
also, it's fries, not chips. We had this discussion yesterday.
circa 1 hour of high quality voice acting. So you're telling me
crisps.
These guys actually get paid? Like this guy is trying to get paid what is like close to $600.
Okay, Hero Hei, it's pounds. It's actually more. It's actually more. That's the fucking crazy thing. Listen, he said 525 euros. Hold on. It's actually more. Let me fucking do the math real quick. 525 GBP to euros. I'm gonna help out his point here. 625 euros is actually what. Sorry, 600. Hold the fuck up. I did my own math wrong. To USD. $705 US is what it would be, by the way, just as a heads up. 705.
Actually get paid. Like this guy is trying to get paid. What is like close to $600 USD for an hour of voice acting?
705.
And no offense to this guy, but he's not exactly a household name.
I remember him. He actually had a very good voice, I think. This thing had a voice? This ferret? Sick.
Doesn't exactly have like a big credit list here. And still wants like 600 USD around?
700.
For around an hour of VA work? Is that?
That is crazy. Hey, if VAs get paid that though, power to you, dude. That's fucking insane. Bro thinks highly of himself, respect, but nah. Hey, I'm always under the impression, I don't think this is a bad thing, by the way. If you're putting out there, you want getting paid this amount for this level of work, I think that's a good thing. I think that's perfectly fine. I actually don't see this as a bad thing at all. I get what Hero Hei is trying to say here. It's kind of funny based on the previous lineup of stuff, but there could be a company out there that's like, yeah, I'll fucking do it, you know? Doesn't matter. Wait, what does bro have to do with SAG if he's British? Well, I don't think he does. I think this was just more about Twitter crash outs and stuff.
Is that really what these people are trying to charge? That's just crazy in my opinion. So yeah, please let me know what you guys think about that. Am I reading that wrong, or is he really trying to charge like 600, just about 600 US?
I don't think that matters. I think this is a non-issue. I think the Hero Hei's covered a lot of really important points in this video. I think this is just an extra bit of icing on the cake that he's trying to get that really just doesn't matter to the entire situation. I think it's a non-issue.
For an hour VA work.
Yeah, I think he probably was just joking.
And it takes me back too really quick to something I covered months ago where there was the, what was that? What was that creepypasta thing? Ben Drowned, I think. Yeah, the creator of Ben Drowned put out a like ad for like needing some background voices, and a bunch of people on Twitter were mad with what he was trying to pay, asking for like hundreds of dollars just to say a few lines.
Yeah.
And that sounds so crazy then. But apparently, yeah, these people really do think they should get like paid hundreds for a few lines or like 600 for an hour. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's a great look, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I am, but
I can definitely see reading it wrong in that situation. I did see one a couple of weeks ago as well, actually, of somebody saying that they needed a couple of background extras voicing that they were going to pay a pretty low amount for, and even I thought it was a pretty low amount. But it was also like a situation where it was a very indie project, and the workers that did, like the voice actors that did. Okay, guys, stop looking at the character's ass, man. It's fucking Psylocke. She's a piece of shit in the game, man. Fucking annoying ass character. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, if a VA is happy, like an up-and-coming VA or something is really happy with that rate and they want to just get their name out there, I think it's a fine thing to do. Why are we watching Hero Hei? He's low-key really toxic. I'm glad you think so. Bro is literally just commenting on this as factual statements and pretty much just giving his opinion. Some things might be toxic, some things not. I don't get toxic vibes from this guy though. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Yeah, Brad, not this video. Oh, well then it's fine then, right? I don't know. I haven't got toxic vibes from him. Maybe he's been toxic in the past. I've been toxic in the past, dude. I don't give a fuck. This video's fine. I think he's made some really good points this video.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's a great look, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I am, but if I am, let me know in the comments.
I think he literally just reads tweets and people do foot fun out of him.
What you think about all this stuff, including that little bonus at the end? Little insight into the VA stuff here.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed the coverage. If you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel.
Yeah, I think it was a fairly good video. Hero Hei seems really nuanced. He likes to give his own opinion as well, and it's not straight up just, what do you call it? Like fact after fact after fact.